Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited. We are now at 30,000 subscribers, so yay! Thank you so much for journeying with me. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for interacting with my content. I see all of you and I'm really thankful to all of you for supporting me in this journey. So today we're going to talk about weaning. I get so many questions. Oh, please do a weaning related video, especially for new moms. And so we're going to jump right into it on the weaning essential items. So I started weaning. I hope I'm pronouncing this word vizuri. Weaning. Yeah, it's Weaning. Yeah, weaning. So I weaned my son at 6 months. So we had done 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding, which was very hard, but we managed to get to 6 months, thankfully. And it was a very exciting time. Now, this video is specifically for that mom who's thinking, oh my God, what do I need? Because I was that mom and I was buying things all over. So from now, I'm going to talk from a point of information, knowing what do you really need, not just what is on your Instagram face. You know, the way shops just pop once you start searching for baby items. Now today, I'm going to just tell you the reality of what has been very essential in my journey. Number one, of course, you need plates or baby bowls, bowls, the way you say it. You need baby plates for the food. What we personally use is the melamine plate. I got the silicone plate bowl from my cousin, and I was so excited because it looks so classy and so bougie. We never used it as much as we use the kawaida melamine plate. Melamine is melamine. That's the word. Yeah, so we never use it like that, like the way we use the normal plate. Babies will humble you. You will buy the most expensive things, then they'll go for the cheapest things. So we ended up using the kawaida small bowls that you could just warm easily food when the food is in the bowl. We also used, if you're going for baby-led weaning, where the baby picks of course the food, I really advise you to use the silicone ones because they will stick to the surface. And babies are curious, they want to touch everything, so it will actually stick on the surface. But if you're going for the traditional weaning where you just feed your baby, you just need kawaida baby plates. Avoid plastic if you can, so that you can be able to warm if you need to warm in the microwave. But I normally warm my food the traditional way. I'll put that tip at the end. So that's number one. Number two, you definitely need spoons. Personally, I just bought spoons from House of Leather, plastic. They were a pack of many and they were costing like 200 shillings. And I kept wanting to buy like more. I don't know. You just get obsessed. Like, oh, my baby is going to an exciting phase. I need to buy what spoon? Please, a plastic spoon just works well. Avoid metal because of the different changes in temperature when you're feeding the baby. So just get a simple baby spoon that can fit in their mouth. Number three, you're going to need a food flask. Let me tell you, this is very important, and I learned like in the middle of the journey. You need a food flask. Why? Because you're gonna move with your baby around sometimes, going to go for clinic. You might even be in hospital because baby is unwell at some certain point. You might travel. This food flask, it really saved me a lot. Like I would, if we are going somewhere and I know baby's food is going to be a problem to get, I would just get the food flask, warm the food, and then put it in the flask, and it would maintain the temperature. In December, we actually went to Shago with my baby, and I was so worried about the trip, but I was able to carry porridge in my food flask and other snacks, and it helped me a lot. So just make sure you have a food flask, especially when you're going to move around with the baby. Have a food flask. The next thing that you're going to need is a water flask, hot water flask. At one point of the day, you're just gonna need hot water or warm water. You just need to have it. In fact, when you give birth, there's always a flask full of hot water in the house throughout. Like in my house, since I gave birth, every day there's a thermos that has hot water. So if you don't have one, maybe have one for the times that you need to be warm the baby's food, for the time that you're going to need a quick fix like Cerelac, for the time your baby is going to need water to drink and you're moving around, you can put the water in the flask. You just need a water flask. It's so easy. I had one when I was traveling again to up country, and it helped me a lot, especially up country when babies wake up so early. So my son would wake up at 6:30. Now by the time my grandmother lights her fire, at least now puts what for porridge, me, I had already sorted myself because I would sleep with the warm water in my thermos. In the morning, if he's so hungry, we just start with Cerelac, tutapatana na uji baadaye. So have a flask. Even for formula feeding mamas, you need a flask for the water. It just makes work easier. So even in weaning, make sure you have a flask if you didn't have. The next item that you definitely need is a cup. Your baby is going to graduate from bottle to cup if they haven't already. So they're going to learn to drink water from a cup as opposed to water from a bottle. They're going to start learning, taking it from the cup. Now, if you're like me, first up mom, we just started with the sippy cup that has like a small mdomo. Then we graduated to these cups. They're like silicone. Then there's the way water comes when they vuta the water. I'll show you I'll insert it here. But either way, you need a cup because you need now to train your baby to take liquids with a cup as opposed to the bottle because you are trying to grow. They're going with the faces. So definitely get a cup. Get a cup. And your baby will enjoy drinking water. There's a way my son enjoys drinking water from his sippy cup. It's adventurous. It's new. So definitely get a cup. Next thing you're going to need is bottles. Just because you're weaning your baby off, like to start on solids, doesn't mean they won't take milk. So if you are not taking if your baby was not taking by the bottle and you want to start off, it is one of the essential items that you actually need for weaning. So my son started the bottle very early. I can't even talk about it. Like 1 week. Week 1, when I was very unwell, he started the bottle. We started with Avent bottles. Now you see when they're babies, they start with like bottles, the teat, bottles where the teat mimics the nipple so that they can take on the milk naturally and easily, as opposed to the other ones, the kawaida ones now, where the milk comes with a lot of force. So we graduated to other bottles, by the way, at 6 months, like for older kids. Now, it's not so specific, though we still use the ones that he had at the newborn phase. I don't know if I'm a hoarder because I still have them and they serve me very well. So you definitely need bottles and make sure they are graduating from the teats. Like there's the newborn one, then they keep growing so that they can learn how to withstand the pressure that comes off the milk, the teat, depending on the size of the hole. I hope you're getting what I mean. Yeah, generally bottles still remaining a weaning essential item. That's my point. The next item that you're going to need is a blender, depending on whether you decide to start with blended food or mashed food or what, traditional weaning. It depends. You're gonna need a blender. I started with blending, and I'm going to talk about blending versus mashing more on the weaning tips video. This is for essentials, but if you're going to start with blended texture, you definitely need a good blender. Invest in a good one. It's gonna serve you a long time. Now, on the flip side, if you're going to start with mashed food, then you need a masher. There's this thing for mashing food. I actually bought mine at Carrefour. But if you don't have that, I think you can actually mash baby's food very easily with a fork. So I personally started with blending, then slowly graduated to mashed food. There are babies who start with mashing direct. There are babies who don't even get mashed for food. They just start eating. So it just depends on your baby. These are some of the things you might need depending on what approach you're taking on weaning. You might blend, you might mash. Either way, those are essentials that you're going to need. So tied to that, of course, if you don't have that thing for mashing, just use a fork and a plate. It's so easy. To date, if we need to mash something, we actually just use the fork. It does such a wonderful job to just use the fork to actually mash like bananas, and the plate. Very easy. Very, very easy. The next item you definitely need is storage containers. And this is essentially important when you cook a lot of food, and then you can store for like lunch and supper or the next day. Depending on how much food you've cooked, you actually need storage containers. It's just advisable to have separate from your adult food, just to keep things hygienic. And for the baby, you just need storage containers. I personally used the very small ones. So once I would cook, I would separate the food, and I would put enough, because you know your baby's kiwango. So you put enough for lunch, and then for supper, and maybe for the next day if it's too much. Personally, I used to cook every day so that we have lunch and supper, so that it's fresh. But there are those actually who store in the freezer and meal prep the whole week. Depending on your approach, either way, you're going to need storage containers for the baby's food. The next item you're definitely going to need is a bib. Imagine, so simple. And so life has gotten so easy. Right now we have silicone bibs where you just put on your baby's neck, and whatever damage they do, because weaning is very messy. If they pour food, they spill food, it just goes into a pouch. Yeah, it's easy to collect, and then again, it's easy to wipe. A silicone bib, you just wash and the food comes off. So it's very good. Personally, I bought excess. I don't even know why I was buying like 4 or 5. You just need like 3, because 3 or 2, because you're gonna wash there. And then at some point, I don't know if this has happened to some of their moms, but my son didn't like the silicone ones anymore. They preferred, there's another one we have, like you tie it like an apron. So he didn't want to be like constricted over here, so he'd remove. So right now we have another one like that looks like an apron, we tie at the back. There are even women who actually have the ones that you wear like a t-shirt, so that the baby can be comfortable and everything. And even now, I tell you, you'll buy the most expensive things and kids will humble you. My son just uses the regular bibs. The regular bibs that we tie at the back and then we have to wash. He does not like the others anymore. So depending on your baby, you will just need bibs. And going with bibs, make sure you have liners, because weaning is definitely so messy. It's actually very messy. Just make sure you have liners to wipe, and then you will wash them. The last item, and this could be contentious depending on yourself as a mom, you might need a feeding chair. Now, I had done a poll on my stories whether this is an essential item or a luxury, and it was 50-50. Some people feel that a feeding chair is a luxury. Some people feel it's an essential. Personally, from my experience, when we bought the feeding chair and we had it connected, we couldn't use it. Like, it was so foreign for my son, and he was refusing, and he was still refusing food and everything. And then at some point now, when he had seriously taken up food, we decided, no, you're going to use this chair, because there's nothing as tiring as moving around with a baby. So at around 7 months is when he actually agreed to sit on the chair. But he protested for 3 days. And I used to document on Instagram that he's protesting, but we try to keep him distracted. We put toys over there. We just put everything that is going, even cocoa melons, just for him to sit still and finish eating. And by day 3, he was okay. And now it has instilled a lot of discipline. So we don't follow him around with food. And even when he's hungry, one of the signs he'll give you is he'll go and sit at the feeding chair crying. So if you think this is an essential for you, my advice is use it early. Start using it early and stay consistent, because your child might protest it. So start using it early. The benefits are very great, because when they get to toddler stage and they start moving around, it's not interesting. Feeding a child who's under the table, on top of the table, in the bedroom, it's not interesting. So depending on your parenting style or depending on your preference, a feeding chair to me is an essential. It might be a luxury to some, but I would advise you that if you want to use it, start early and get a good one. My son's is very comfortable because it's on the ground. We don't have a dining table, so it's not high up, but I can fix it that way. So as a bonus tip, it's contentious also. Do you need a food warmer or whatever? I personally didn't use a food warmer, so I'm just gonna give you a pro tip, which you're going to see it in my weaning tips video. Get a bowl. I'm sure you have like a glass bakuli. Get that one and then get the baby bowl and put inside and then pour hot water around, because they take a lot of time eating, so they eat slowly. So that food is going to stay warm because of the water around. And if you feel it getting cold, just pour that water, put another fresh set of hot water. Works miracles. I know there are people who sell things for warming, but I prefer working with what is in my house. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Is there an item I forgot? Let me know in the comment section what you think is also essential for the baby when they're starting weaning. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you on my next video. Bye-bye.